topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from experts on such topics as legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to our experts in community association law, estate planning law, tax relief, Medicare, public insurance adjusters, neuropathy treatment, business brokers, and personal injury law, along with many other topics. Now here's your host for the last 17 years, Steve O.
Afternoon, Texas. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, this afternoon's show is a very special show, and I'm looking at my TikTok, which is actually on my cell phone, and then our other 70 platforms are on my laptop, but I'm looking at our TikTok. The show hadn't even started yet. We're just starting now, and it's already got 894 likes. So thank you, TikTok. We promise to bring you a great show. This show is really important to me because several years ago, it was time for me to get involved with Medicare. I got to tell you, for those of you out there that go, I don't know anything about Medicare, it's confusing, I was in your place. But the one thing I don't want you to do and learn today is about procrastination and not waiting. We've got one of the top Medicare agents. Let me introduce you to our great expert, Jill Belvin of the Belvin Insurance Agency in Houston. Good afternoon, Jill.
Hello, Stephen. Good to be here today.
This is such a special show to me because I went through having a bad agent, so I knew what that felt like. I finally realized I needed a new agent, and I saw the difference. And I want people to really understand the importance of this show. This is not an ad for Medicare. What I want you to understand is, first of all, don't procrastinate. Get a great agent like Jill, and we're gonna educate you today because we see you've got a lot of questions. Jill, tell people about your company.
So I'm the founder and owner of the Belvin Insurance Agency. I have been helping guide folks with their insurance for 30 years. I started off with a focus of property casualty 30 years ago, commercial insurance. I refocused probably around 7 to 8 years ago, understanding the need and importance that surrounded Medicare education for beneficiaries who are starting Medicare. There's just a huge gap there that for a professional to educate on choices and options. I love it because it is such an opportunity to help people in that realm. And I get a lot of fulfillment out of assisting people, educating people so that they can make their best Medicare decision.
One of the things I love about your agency is you represent a lot of different insurance providers. So
I'm licensed and certified, yes. Over 17 companies, over 175 plans, yes.
So when people see these ads on TV, Jill, and they call that company, they're only going to get the plan for that company. Whereas with you, you can show them different plans.
We can actually assess their needs, what benefits are important to them, and choose a carrier based on the needs and the benefits of the client. Absolutely.
Well, we're getting close to open enrollment. We're going to explain that to you. But,
Mhm.
Joe, what is the biggest questions right now that people have?
So, some of the biggest things that, well, let's go back to finding an agent. Okay. So, some of the questions I get are, do I have to use an agent for Medicare? You don't necessarily have to, but I want to explain to you what you're losing if you don't have somebody in your corner, basically. Medicare, you can contact Medicare at an 800 number. They can sign you up for something. There's also a website that you can go to if you feel brave and think you want to do that. But the problem is, no one is ever going to reach out to you to let you know that it's time to review because your plan could change, that there are things coming that you need to be aware of. If you don't have an agent in your corner, if you have just self-enrolled yourself into a plan or gotten Medicare to sign you up for something just because you called and asked, you're never going to have that person in your corner to make you aware of changes, to keep you abreast of what's going on in the Medicare industry. So you just really are flying by the seat of your pants, so to speak. You don't have any information. You don't have anyone who's really going to help you from that point forward. You're just in a plan and you're just going to keep on going. And one day you might get a big surprise that you were completely unaware of because the plan, pulled out of the market, or the plan prices went up, or there's been changes. There are things that are coming in 2027 regarding prescription drug plans. It has to do with the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 that puts certain guidelines in place for a few years. But some of those guidelines are changing in 2027. And if you don't have anyone to let you know that, you could be caught completely unawares with a standalone prescription drug plan. Cost could go up substantially in 2027. So it's just so many things to be aware of in that realm. And you were mentioning the annual enrollment period, and what is that about? Okay, so let's talk about annual enrollment. It is a period between October 15th and December the 7th. And during that period of time, if you are on a prescription drug plan, standalone, or a Medicare Advantage plan, it is your opportunity to get educated and review the benefits of your plan for 2027. Your company that you are insured with for your prescription or Medicare Advantage plan will be sending out a letter called Annual Notice of Change document. That letter arrives usually sometime during the month of September, and it tells you what to expect for 2027. It could tell you something like your plan's no longer going to offer a benefit of dental, or your plan premium is going to change from $0 to $20, or it could tell you a lot of things, but you have to, take a look at that document. And then if there's concerns about any changes that are coming in 2027, that's when your agent, like myself, can schedule a review to find out if there's another plan that might better suit your needs. Things change with Medicare beneficiaries as well. They can get on different prescriptions during the year than what they were the previous year, and the costs can rise. Doctors change in those plans. Maybe you were seeing a certain primary care physician all of 2026, and in 2027, that doctor's no longer going to be associated with that particular Medicare Advantage plan. And you love that doctor. Well, you need to find out what, what plans are available that you can still see your doctor that you love. And this is where you can review those plans. Especially a prescription plan. That's really the only time, unless you have a special enrollment, that you can review a prescription plan standalone. But also the Medicare Advantage. If you're currently on a Medicare Advantage and you want to review a new one because something has changed on your current plan, that is the time to do that. During the October 15th through December 7th timeline is your best time to do that.
So I'm going to share something with you. I'm not going to say who my coverage was with, but
Mm-hmm.
just to show you how important an agent is, I had to find out from a friend of mine. They said, well, have you ever gone to their website? And I went, no, I have an agent does that for me. He said, do you know you're missing out? And it wasn't much. It was $100. But
Mm-hmm.
on the website, I could go on there and
Mm-hmm.
get a shopping coupon
Mm-hmm.
from our grocery store, CVS.
Mm-hmm.
My original agent,
It's called an over-the-counter benefit.
yes, I was never told about that.
Oh.
So now I am, but
Mhm.
back then, and I also had a $35 monthly allowance I get, but my original agent never told me I could go to the insurance company's website. And I know
Uh-huh.
it's $100, but it's $100.
Right, right. Yes, many of the companies offer over-the-counter benefits to help you purchase items such as Tylenol, Band-Aids, blood pressure cuffs, heating pads, things that are health related, but not necessarily a prescription medication. So they'll give you monetary resources for that. Um, you do have to, contact them to find out what you can purchase and
Right.
either do it online through their website or go to a local, pharmacy, and they have their items labeled as to what would be, on their plan. So over the counter items are really important. Some companies will also give you additional, I guess, monetary reimbursements for health related things, such as setting up your first visit with your primary care physician, doing your annual wellness check with your Medicare, doing some exercise programs, things like that. They'll add in some extra benefits, sometimes depending on the company that you're with, to that benefit. And that's nice to know if they offer that. It's basically going to help you out a little bit. And then there are some plans. Typically, they're going to be either a chronic plan for chronic conditions, such as heart attack, or heart problems and blood pressure related problems, diabetes, being on dialysis, things like that. They offer some additional benefits that might help to, pay grocery bills or utility bills, things of that nature. And especially for people who have Medicaid and Medicare together, there are plans that are called dual special plans for Medicare and Medicaid recipients that do provide those extra benefits for those folks. So, but your agent does need to go through the plan benefits with you. As you know, when you're enrolling in a plan, it is the responsibility of the agent to go through each of those benefits up front with you, one by one, and let you know what you are getting with your plan, all of your benefits. It's really important.
We're talking about an age demographic here.
Mm-hmm.
And you get at my age, Jill, you throw out a lot of mail.
Uh-huh.
And I got to tell you, even from my insurance company, there
Right.
are, especially if you're on a Advantage plan,
Mm-hmm.
they might be pulling out of your county. And if you threw the mail away, you wouldn't know unless you had a good agent.
That's true, because there are plans that pull out. Here locally in the, Houston and surrounding area, there's going to be a major disruption. I'm not allowed to say at this time because it's too premature. It's not even October yet, but my clients are already on my list to call. So there's always plans that are going to terminate. in that particular area. They're going to pull back. It's always somebody. It doesn't matter what the year. I mean, there was somebody last year. There's a company this year. So, you have to stay on the aware of all these things and make your clients aware of these things. No unexpected surprises.
Yeah, we're getting there's two questions that people are asking a lot of right now during the show.
Okay.
One is about do you prefer just the regular Medicare or Medicare Advantage?
Okay. So those are two totally different things, and there are pros and cons to each method. You just need to be educated and know which best fits your certain scenario or what you prefer. Completely different. With regular Medicare as a primary, you can add a supplement to pay the other 20% of your major medical. Regular Medicare pays 80% after you meet your Part B deductible. That is costly because you pay not only for the Medicare Part B, but you also pay your premium for your supplement, which goes up over time. There's no avoidance of that. You're not going to avoid it. But it also pays very well for medical and gives you a lot of flexibility with doctors. As long as the doctor does accept traditional Medicare benefits, and you can see the doctor, and there's no network really, and there's also no worry with pre-authorizations or prior approvals and things of that nature. But it allows you a lot more flexibility, but can also add up an expense over the years. The Medicare Advantage plan is different. It is a plan that is administered by private insurance companies. And when you opt into Medicare Advantage plans, there's the Part B premium still that you have to pay, but there's not a premium for the Advantage plan itself usually. I mean, there are some that do have a premium, but usually there is not. But the difference is with the Advantage plan, you are going to have a little bit more restrictive doctor network. You are going to have to deal with prior authorizations and prior approvals from your, for primary care to get to the specialty doctors and do the testing that's required maybe for certain situations. But it does include your dental vision. It's kind of an all-inclusive plan. There's not a premium. And you do have co-pays in the Medicare Advantage plan. So co-pays and co-insurances, but they're capped. There's a max out-of-pocket. So the two plans are just really different. And for every person, everybody has a personal preference of what they like once they're educated on the plans. Usually people know, well, I think I like that particular type of, way to do it, or like the supplement, or I like the Advantage. So it's just a matter of knowing your options and being able to be informed so that you can choose.
Tell people, because we're getting people asking how much you charge for your service. I know the answer, but you go ahead.
So there is no charge to you. That's why, when I was talking earlier about, you could go to Medicare or you could do this or that. I have no idea why anyone would not want to use a professional licensed agent. There's no charge for my expert advice. There's no charge to you.
And you do so much legwork too, Jill.
I do.
Amazing.
And the way that I am compensated is by the company. Once we answer your questions, educate you once you've made your decision, and I help you with your enrollment, the company that you decide to enroll with will compensate the agent. You don't do that. You don't have to pay an agent a dime to help you.
Next question everybody's asking is, what is the difference between an HMO and a PPO?
Okay. So, the HMOs on Medicare Advantage, the biggest difference between the HMO and the PPO is going to be that prior authorization that I mentioned before, the prior, authorization and approvals. If you're on a PPO, it will be less likely that you have to do that. Okay. But if you do go with a PPO, there's also your maximum out of pocket annually goes from about average of $3,500 up to $7,000 to $9,000. So it is a huge difference in your maximum out of pocket. So if you do get, say, some serious condition where your copays are 20%, say for instance, cancer and chemo copays are 20% till you reach your max out of pocket. On a Medicare Advantage plan, all of them are the same. If you have a $3,500 average max out of pocket, it's going to be a whole lot less out of your pocket than if you have a $7,000 to $9,000 max out of pocket. There are some pros and there are some cons, to HMO versus PPO. But that is the main difference, is the prior approval situation.
We have a couple minutes left. Tell people why that they should have you represent them with Medicare and their plans.
I'm a very honest person. I don't try to, push anyone into doing anything. I give you your options. I want to make sure you're taken care of. I want to make sure you understand your plan. I want to make sure you take full advantage of the benefits of your plan. I'm a great person to work with. I feel like I do a great job for my clients. They all have very high reviews. And if you want to look at the reviews, you can go to my website, www.insurewithbelvin.com. You can read some of my client reviews, but I'm always here to answer questions and help. Want to make sure, like I said before, that you understand your options, that you're educated on what is available, and that you get to choose your very best fit when it comes to your Medicare.
Jill, we love having you on. Hey, we're getting closer to October. I can't wait for the next month's show. Second Friday.
Friday. Every
2
month.
o'clock Eastern time. We'll see you then. Thank you so much, Jill.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Jill Belvin, Belvin Insurance Agency, 832-281-4474. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back in with you next week with more.
K. Bender Renbaum is a full-service community association law firm.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.